Thank you very much and welcome. Okay, so there are 3 words already on there, right? SAP BTP, Business Technology Platform, Clean Core, and also extensions. So I will do with you today a little bit of a journey, starting on a higher up and then diving into it. And I will also show you 4 different technologies that you can use in order to build those extensions. So thereby, I will show you even live demos of how to do this and enable you with a lot of things of what you can do. But I love to always start with key takeaways. So when you walk away after these 45 minutes that we now have together, and somebody who wasn't in this session and ask, how was it? You have 3 things that you can tell them of what to leave them with. So you will understand more. What is Clean Core and why is that important? What extensibility options are available, and even how to get started. So let's dive right into it. Why do we need to even extend SAP applications? I sometimes get these questions from customers and they're like, but why do we need to even do this? You know, why can you not build everything in there? Well, SAP comes with a delivered scope, like a standard kind of software. However, that not always meets what you maybe need. So there is some kind of part which is very specific to your business. So something that might also really give you a differentiator in your business. And that is why we offer various ways of how you can extend and actually really build out this unique advantage. But also what I do when I talk to customers, they are like, oh my God, you know, these kind of customizations, how they were called in the back. We have a lot of those. So who has customizations in their core? Maybe a quick show of hands? Okay, some of you, yes. And when I talk to customers, what they also say to me is then, oh my God, it feels like this. So this is a picture of a garage, a very not clean and tidy garage. And sometimes it's a bit like some of the things you probably use several times per month, and some of those you have never used at all. So this is a bit also when we see when it comes to customizations in your core. It's about trying to make sense of what do you need, what do you want to use going forward, and if you're thinking about a cloud transformation, what are things that are really you want to keep, but maybe which of those things you might want to upgrade to the new parts. So this kind of clean core strategy, and this word you might have heard it already, or it might be also new to you, is around, first of all, trying to be clean. And what we mean with clean is that you're always up to date on your latest version, that you're very transparent in terms of things that you're using or what you're not using, that you're very efficient, and so on and so on. Other things, obviously, that enable you then are things in your ERP system, so that you have a really easy extensibility options, that you can process your data integrations and everything in your ERP system. Because these are things that enable you, when you try to keep the core clean, enable you to process these things in a much easier and faster manner. But they're often like, okay, Vivian, I get it in the sense that clean, and I get what you get out of it. But I don't really understand what it means now specifically to me. And this is why I love this animation. It really brings it down to the point. So let's start. In your ERP system, you have some standard processes, which are represented by these kind of bars, and you have some custom processes maybe built in directly. If you're thinking now about transforming and maybe moving into some kind of cloud environment, and you still continue to do these directly in there, there are ways of how you can do it, and I will talk to you about it, but if you directly change things in there, you will run into a problem when you go into the update cycle, because these will lose and then they would not work, and that would cause a lot of headaches. That is why we say, keep the core clean. You see how these boxes flew over to here, kind of keep the core clean, and ideally put them into something that is called the SAP Business Technology Platform. So you can see also here, there are still some boxes. And those boxes are in-app extensibilities. And I will talk to you about more what these are. So, there are 3 options of how to extend Business One. Anybody knows them? No. So, first one, there is the built-in customizations, right? Those boxes that were still within the other bigger box. Then there are in-app extensions, and my favorite topic, side-by-side extensions. So, built-in is something that you can do with more like no-code capabilities. In-app extensibilities are parts that you all still can do, but use other language models in order to do this. And side-by-side extensions are literally sitting on another platform. That's why it's called side-by-side. So now, task for you, remember colors. Okay, we have yellow, we have orange, red, and we have purple. So, who was aware of these like 3 extensibility options? Who has maybe used some of those, maybe learned about any of these, maybe quick show of hands, okay? See, there's a row who's very advanced. So, if you should take a mental snapshot, this is now one of those slides from this presentation which you really want to maybe get this mental snapshot of. So, first of all, I talked to you about these built-in customizations, right? So these are things that you, again, on a really no-code basis, can use in order to hide and unhide fields, for example. I will go a bit more into detail in a second. Then we have those in-app extensibilities that use something called UI mesh or core view extensions. And then we also have the side-by-side extensions. And I think you're slowly getting the idea, right, in terms of like, what does it mean when we talk about side-by-side? Because it's literally next to one another of how these extensions are built. And in particularly, we will also look a bit more into these today. So, but still, let's look into, and again, remember color, right? We are now in the yellow space, built-in customizations. Those are, when you open, for example, SAP Business One, you have already some kind of like ways of customizing it by removing fields, adding fields, having some kind of analytics embedded. But you also have some kind of UDX, and the X stands, for example, for user-defined fields, or user-defined tables, or user-defined queries. So these are kind of like, again, these in-app extensibilities that come with the software. So this is one way of how you can extend. The other way is around in-app extensibility. Again, note the color, now we're in the orange space. So here you can see again the UI mashup, so it's about supporting link tiles or other extensions with other kind of technologies. And so you can see here a lot of a variety of these, of what could that be. And normally then they look like normal ties that are directly embedded in the UI, and you don't even notice that this is an extension. Or you also have other things like UI APIs and extensibility support. But as said, this is not so much what we want to talk to you about today. This is something that you might be aware, and if not, obviously, Mr. is really great in also building some of those Fiori applications. I had a talk with somebody earlier. But I want to talk to you about what else can you do? What else can you use? And this is where we will focus on these 4 components today. So, SAP Business Technology Platform. Who has heard of this one? Yes, it came off so many talks today. So, well, often I still get asked, Vivian, what is that platform? I mean, I've seen that slide maybe in many times and in many versions. Well, I ask already who has heard it. But another question I have for you is, who understands it? Yeah? Okay. And another question, who uses this already? Okay, I see some of the hands up there. So let's go a bit into what is this platform. And I love that because this image, it really simplifies because one platform and all clouds. So you have all these different types of cloud vendors out there. But what we're saying is with this platform, you're bringing a lot of these things together in one. So SAP Business Technology Platform. If you again need to remember, somebody asks you, hey, what did you maybe take away from today? There is this platform called SAP Business Technology Platform. What can it do for me? It can help you to develop applications. It can help you to automate your processes. It can help you to integrate your processes or data flows and so on, build out workflows. It can help you with your data and analytics, and it can help you to infuse AI directly into your organization. So 5 things what you can do with this platform. Do you need to use all of it? No. You choose what you want to use, what makes sense for you, what you want to and what you need in your organization. It's a bit like choosing and picking what are the right areas for you. And thereby we can go many levels deeper. So you can see here, for example, it's around database management, or it's around like pre-built AI business models. And for today, we really will focus on this area over here, because that is where the extensibility area comes into the play. So, again, note the color. Now we're in the purple space, side-by-side extensibility. I mentioned to you there are 4 services, 4 tools that are on the SAP Business Technology Platform that you can use. They are how to build apps, how to build automations, how to build business websites as part of a concept that we call SAP Build, and something more for like pro coders, which is called Business Applications Studio. So, another mental snapshot on this picture. Okay, let's go into what is SAP Build now exactly. So, for that I feel like we need to zoom out a bit. So by the end of this year, the global market for low-code, no-code application platforms is expected to reach 26.6 billion. And I'm like, whoo, that's a big number, but can I really understand how big that is? Not really, so I tried to put it in context. So, if you know where to spend every day from now on 1 million, how many days or years would you need to spend 26.6 billion? Come on, some guesses now. Give me some numbers. Come on, just a number. Give me any number. Yeah. 75 Sorry? 75 years. 75 years. Wow, there's somebody did their math. It's actually 72 years. You are, by the way, the closest person to get to that number when I ever have done that presentation. So you get the crown for it. Okay, so 72 years. So I think we established it's a pretty big market, and it can help you in this area of what to do. So what are the challenges that, for example, low-code, no-code can tackle for you in your organization? It's about, for example, how to develop applications faster. So let's say you're in the business, you have an idea of how you can support your customers. You're like, okay, I want to build this application, I want to do it now, and I want to ideally have it tomorrow. Well, that's where low-code, no-code solutions can help you. But if you would now go out and give this now to your organization, maybe something like this would happen. Quite a lot of chaos. Because if you would give out now these kind of tools to everybody in your organization, they would start building, there would be a lot of applications. And that's not what you want, ideally. You ideally want also that it makes sense so that your developer team or your IT team is more productive, but also at the same time that you innovate in a safe and compliant way. And all of this comes together where we see at SAP, where we try to still make everybody a builder, but we want to take the load of IT off and try to bring everybody together. And when I talk to my customers who are using this technology, they often talk to they often bring the business side in. They do a workshop of how the technology works. They give it to them, they say, okay, build me the front end, and I will show you in a second how this works. And then they'll give it back to IT to build out the backend part. And these are things where some of my customers have done like applications within like 1.5 months, ready from idea to literally bringing it out to the market. So you can already see with that, it's less code, because we will go into that part, but it gives you higher impact. So thereby, what are now these 3 areas in particularly? build applications, build automations, and design business websites. So let's start with SAP Build Apps. SAP Build Apps is a low-code, no-code solution where you can simply drag and drop in order to use and build an interface. What you see is what you get. But I'm always a big believer in not just showing you a video, but literally showing you the software. So I just will do the refresh bar because it might have locked me out of my demo system, but this is how it looks like. So this is the lobby of SAP Build. And when you go in there, you see here some of the applications that have been already built. Or if you want to build a new one, you can see now here these three things that I've shown you on the slide before. And you can see here now, this one is my demo system. Otherwise, if you would use it in your landscape, all of these three would be activated. So I want to show you now one application, so a job requisition example. And this application, again, you can see right here, this is the building interface. On the left-hand side, I have all these different components. So, for example, I can drag a bit of text over, and then I can go in and say, hello. Or I can drag a button over, and I can rename this button to something else. Or I can use other elements, for example, like a search bar. So you see, this is how you would literally build the interface. And that is what I meant when often my customers are going out there, giving a quick tutorial to their team of how to use the technology, and then the business side builds the front-end part. But at the moment, this button doesn't do anything. We need to add some logic to it. And this is where you open the logic component. And here on the left-hand side, it's kind of hidden behind me. You have, for example, open another page, navigate back, or create a confirmation, create an alert, those kind of things. So for example, if we would like to go to another page, we literally drag it on, we connect these two areas. We need to obviously say to kind of like which page we need to connect it to, and there you go. You already now have created a button that will lead you to somewhere. But that's not all. You can also do obviously a lot of theming. You can also connect it to different data parts. And that's very interesting, right? Because you obviously want to bring maybe data in or want to bring data out from there. So you can see here, this is an OData connection. How you would set it up is a couple. I don't want to go too much in detail here, but it's one part of how you, for example, can connect your data, and there are various different ways of how you can connect your data. You can also authenticate. Very important when we talk about the safety and compliance part, right? That's also possible. And if you obviously want to test it out, you can just open it. I didn't save now the changes I made, so you will not see it. But there you go, and then we could just, for example, go in here, you would see the application and kind of test it out. I will not show you now in very detailed demos, right? Because this is just a bit sparking your ideas. You know, what is out there, what is available? You have seen it now. Obviously, there's much more available of what you can do. So this is SAP Build. Again, what you remember, drag and drop interface. Also, we have a lot of different like built-in components or formulas. There's a visual logic to appeal, and we also have these different like data modeling options as well available. So, I want to also tell you always a story about how and who has actually used such a technology. So where are we right now here? What's happening on the picture? Oh, you're very shy today, come on. I see you want to say something.
Giving meals to people.
They're giving meals to people, yes. What kind of context? Maybe you see a flag in there. Somebody said something there? Ukraine, yes. So obviously we know all what has happened in the Ukraine and what's still ongoing. And in order to support the refugees of the Ukraine, in Poland, they have used the SAP Build technology to build an application. Apologies, this video will be now in Polish because it's a promo video of them. But it basically shows you, as a refugee, for example, where to collect points in which cities, but also if you're a donator, of where to donate things for refugees. So it goes like kind of two-sided ways. You can see what is available, where to go to, who's the contact person, and so on and so on. So a very powerful application they've built. It has over 114 donation points in Poland, in over 53 cities, and it reached over 1 million of people. And I think that's quite impressive, considering it took 6 weeks from idea stage to that it goes live. And I think that is really impressive. And this shows really what this like low-code technology can do. So there are a couple of different offerings. I don't want to go too much in detail. SAP acquired this technology. It's what called initially SAP AppGyver. But now it is available in various different systems. And the good news for you, you can test it out for free. You can do something and try out things today. I will later show you links of where you can do that. But there's even more particular things available for SAP Business One. So if I just go in here, I also linked you all the documents. You can see a lot of things of what you particularly can do for Business One, explaining you various different things. So just all out there for you. So let's go now into the next area, SAP Build Workzone. So SAP Build Workzone is something of an evolutionary product. Those products that you see on here, anybody knows any of these? Maybe just a quick show of hands again. So these products are things that we have advertised in the past when it comes to user experience, building a central point of access. But as user experience evolves, also our products evolve. So we had something that was called then the Launchpad service, and now we're having something that's called SAP Workzone. So setting the context here. So as part of this Workzone family, we offer like a lot of different areas. And you kind of see this as an evolution. So the very starter package until like the very advanced package. There are varieties that I don't want to go too much into the detail, but basically it comes with more connection points, with more assets, with more things available of what you can do in each of these different components. So it's a bit of this evolutionary stage. This, by the way, is one of the like, in some of our products already available out of the box without any end-top licensing. So, why is this interesting? Because it comes in every kind of form. Well, nowadays, what you need, right? In a mobile perspective. And I always get asked, like, when do you use Workzone? Well, I say if any of those trigger you or you have had thoughts about. For example, it's quite difficult to find what I need, getting my work done, what are the things that are really important for me? I want everything on a mobile device. These are things when you need to think about this technology that might be able for you to address those things. So a quick video from another organization that actually have used that technology.
I'm the Vice President of Solution Management and Marketing at Conversion Information Systems. Actually, we're using a combination of technologies. We are heavily based on the new SAP Business Technology platform, in particular things like Workzone for that very nice user experience, basically in a single pane of glass where everyone can come in and be able to get to all of your information history experience in terms of tax systems, in terms of finance, procurement, supply chain, and with Conversion, with its app house design thinking, deep experience in terms of working directly with customers, making easy to use software, putting all that together into one combination and one package, one solution is what makes it so differentiated in a way. To start delivering some of the processes, taking efficiency to the next level. The technology should be empowering the business, right? And so you have to make it easy for business people to be able to adjust the configuration of the software to tailor to their needs.
Well, so this is one example, but again, I believe in showing you quickly how this software looks like. And again, there are various variations. This is not the one, but this is one of them. So for example, this is now like a supplier portal. So you can see here now, these gives you quite an overview of things of what's happening, direct links in your organization, already some kind of overview of complaints, directly pages of where to go to, who to contact, and so on and so on. And there is also the workspace. It's completely empty right now, but in order to show you again how easy it is to build such a web page is, for example, you click into a new row, you add a widget, you, for example, want to then add some text, and there you go, and then you start typing. Or if you want to add something else, I don't know, maybe some kind of for different content parts, and there you go. So you would add more and more and build out this web page. The good thing is it's not available to everybody. You can restrict roles. It's also one of the parts that's very interesting. By talking, for example, somebody from the Amista team, they were saying this technology is, for example, used by Carrefour, and Amista helped to implement them when it comes to their storefronts. So it's very diverse in the way of how you can use it. And here are some, just again, ideas for you of how you can use it. So it's enterprise-wise. If we talk about this, it can be an intranet, right? Something for your employees. But it could also be something around like a quality initiative and so on. It could also be something around like a learning university or something for your procurement desktop. Or even what, for example, Carrefour uses for like store managers. And for example, also like we saw a supplier portal, we saw it could be also like a customer self-service portal. There are various ways of how this technology can be used. Okay, moving over to SAP Build Process Automation. So now we're talking about automations. So SAP Build Process Automation is also a low-code, no-code tool in order to build automations. And again, let's maybe just go right away into it. I'm just going to refresh my screen. So as I said before, right, it looks quite similar now, the interface from SAP Build Apps to SAP Build Process Automation. But what you will see now here is, now this one is kind of like deactivated, and now we're in this area. So here I will just take an example of an invoice approval flow. So we've built out this application, and what you can see here, I'm just going to refresh that as well, is an automation, a process, a form, and an AI business service all in one solution. So what you can see here is, this is the process, okay? So I will zoom in. It has a trigger point, the invoice request form. Then it extracts some invoice data from this form. So imagine you have an email inbox. In there comes the email. The bot notices this email, opens the email from the email application, extracts the necessary information from this email, and puts that then right away in the right system of where it needs to go. However, we don't just want it always to be automatically everything put away. You want to have some kind of flow that gets approved. So therefore, we have an approval flow with some kind of invoice approval form and a notification form. So if we look into the extract automation part, it's fairly easy. This is how, for example, this like automation looks like. But what you can see here on the right-hand side are all the tools that are available. So you go, for example, and type in Excel. Sorry. Okay. So you can see the thing that changes. So for example, if you want to do a mouse click, or if you want to do something around, there's so many, that's why you choosing one of them, close an application if it's, for example, Outlook, or if there's something else, you literally would just start with, I don't know, just close the application. But again, you would drag and drop it. You obviously would need to define it of like which kind of application it would need to close. That's a bit why there's this like red bar around here. In terms of building such a process out, it's fairly simple again. You also have this part where you can, for example, determine if it's a form, if it's an approval flow, if it's an automation, if it's a sub-process, and everything else of what you can build out here. Let's say you want to build another if condition in, you just click here and decide in order to like build out this process. Such a form as well, which we talked about, like creating a form, is also fairly easy to build out. You can, for example, say, I want another headline, or I want another text area, and that's again how you start building out such a form again. So just giving you a bit of a feel of how this application works. It's again a lot of drag and drop, but what I would also say, sometimes it needs a bit more understanding. It's not just like that. So you obviously need a bit of a learning curve, and that's with all of the low-code, no-code technologies. It's not just like very intuitive. It's still, we work every time on making it intuitive, but still you need like some kind of training in these technologies. So when it comes to SAP Build Process Automation, I think what's interesting is to understand that we combine their two technologies, workflow management and also processing automation, so different bots together in something that we call process automation, because SAP, again, is about building processes out. So in terms of what to do with it, because that's also often what my customers ask, I would say think about 3 particular areas. Somewhere where you have very manual, repetitive tasks, somewhere where you have a lot of a high volume of steps that you always need to process over and over, or where it's like multiple systems which you maybe want to bring together. Examples could be, we looked at the invoice approval process, but it could be also document approvals, it could be some kind of like relocation, visa permit, and so on and so on. So there's a variety of like where to use it. It's again about finding the right use case that fits to you. But also good news, you don't need to start from scratch, because we literally have a bot store, an SAP Build content catalog, and I already start to filter it down by SAP Business One, where you now can see already ready to use or templates to use for you to get started right away. And often my customers are like, no, I want to build it actually out myself. I'm like, no, if it's already out there, use it as a starting point. Use it like you don't need to use it right away out there like this, but at least think about what's out there. Obviously, there are many more out, and a lot of customers use this again as a template, as a starting point, seeing how this is built. And if you're, again, you can try out this technology for free, and let's say we just go into the first one, which is now a return request for process automation. If you would be logged in, you would have a little button that's called Add here, and then you click Add, and it would be literally loaded into the SAP Build area here. You actually have the store here in the top as well. So let's say, I don't know, just go now on the first one, and then you would start here, create from template, and you would have this in your landscape to use. So check out the store, maybe there's something available for you to use. So I've put now also a direct slide for you together. You will get these slides, but these are particular processes plus 2 blog articles, again also particularly for Business One, of like how to use the document information extraction service, one of those services that I showed you before. So to really break it down, again in a very simple slide, you don't need to start from here. You can already start here and be already on the driving area of your journey. So, question now again, where are we right now? In the kitchen, yes. So the customer I want to talk to you now about is called Villeroy and Boch. And no, I didn't choose it because it's very similar to my last name, but they do pretty nice designs when it comes to bathroom and actually kitchenware. So what they actually used, they were having a lot of those time-consuming, manual tasks when it comes to their general ledger entry, for example. And they used our automation story exactly as I described to you and showed you this before. And what they managed to do is they now have over 10 of those digital assistants running on their systems and check over 6,000 documents a year. And I find that quite impressive. And this is not all automated. Before humans were looking into this, but now they can obviously focus on the more value-generating tasks that were combined with these areas. So for somebody who loves architecture diagrams, I personally love them, but I knew it was maybe I will not go into too much detail, but what you can see here is the desktop agent, which is part of this automation software, and how it then interacts with the document, for example, information service, how it's then connected to also the Cloud Foundry account, and of course interacts here on the right-hand side with the different SAP solutions. I left you that in there if you want to check that out later. So, now we're leaving this cozy space of the low-code, no-code area and moving into the pro-code area. So we talked about these softwares. Now we will talk more about these softwares. So SAP Business Applications Studio. The use cases for SAP Business Applications Studio is that, again, you can build different web applications using, for example, Fiori technology or UI5. You can extend your applications. You even can use serverless extensions, which is quite an interesting concept. You can also build different mobile applications out here as well. So what you have here is, again, just an overview. But again, as you know me now, I think you know that we are going now into, again, very quickly, how does this software look like? So if you would open up Business Application Studio, this is what you would see. You would start with opening up a dev space. When you create a dev space, what you can see here on the left-hand side are basically those components that I showed you earlier on the slide, right? We talked about the Fiori application, we talked about the mobile application, and so on and so on. It comes with like different SAP extension packages, which you can see here on the left-hand side, depending on what you need to use. For example, a CAP application. I know somebody was very interested in that part. You can see different HANA tools, you can see Java tools, Python tools, and so on and so on. And then you would just like click them and add them. I will not do this because I have already done that for today. But it's literally click, click, and open, and then it takes like a minute or two until it's like set up. So this is how it would look like. I haven't done any code in this one. I just wanted to show you the different parts of it and what you can do here. So there are like various different formats of how you can explore them. If you would, for example, would start from a template, these are like some kind of low-code, no-code options of where to start with. There are like also that you can clone from Git report, you can open a folder, you can open up like various different formats. So it's basically a web IDE that supports and connects better to your SAP different applications. So again, I just want to give you a glimpse of like these different technologies and what's out there. Interestingly is as well that we have a lot of different integrations available with that one. So for example, there is a compatibility to Visual Code Studio from Microsoft, for example. There's an integration to Google Workspace available, and we also have something that is called the SAP API Business Hub or Accelerator Hub, with a lot of, again, pre-built content out there that you can use as well with a one-click installation in there. So, question again to you, where are we now? Mining site, wow, that was the quickest one from all, yes. So we are on a mining site right now. And I want to talk to you about a company that basically does mining in over, I think, 24 different countries. And what they're doing is there's a lot of security always involved. And before they started, it's Vale, by the way, is the company name. They had a very manual process, paper-based process. And then they approached SAP and were like, okay, how do we kind of solve this? So they used the Business Application Studio to build a mobile application out that now can have all the security standards, all the reports on there. You can upload pictures, you can sign documents immediately, and all is stored. And even also the best way, it works offline. So if you're somewhere on a mining site, it still works. So they have now 24,000 end users, and they do over 5 million risk assessments per year in this application. Imagine doing this all on paper before. Quite difficult. Obviously, now they can scale it with such a solution. So again, a lovely architecture diagram for you of how does it work. So we have the different user, right, logging onto it, using the mobile service capabilities, then using the SAP Business Application Studio with all the different components. Some of them I showed you before. And then all of this kind of connects them through the ECC to their like ERP system. So again, just an overview of how this can look like. So slowly coming to an end. Where is SAP Build, for example, available? I think it's quite interesting. Obviously, we're now here in Belgium. Probably for you, the Europe one might be the most interesting one. But again, it's like, for example, there are like all 4 bubbles available, and you can start with these things today. So what could be a particular journey for you? Well, after today, I hope I sparked a bit your interest. You can test out all of these on your own in a kind of free trial. You can earn a certificate. We have thousands of communities. We post a lot of videos, documentations. We have different like step-by-step, very good tutorials out there. And also you can become also even an evangelist in that space. So I put you even more links, because if there's one thing that we don't have, we have not enough content. That's one thing that we always have. We had a lot of content available for things that even also are quite tailored. So I added a couple of links for you that are particularly when it comes to like Business One again. But there are now 3 websites that I want to leave you with, which I always feel they are not appreciated enough. So one is the Discovery Center. Who has used it before? Yes, 3-4 people. Okay, if you have not used it before, this is the one software that you might want to remember from today. So, going through all of my different parts, this how it looks like. It has a lot of different things on there. So, but the best thing is either the missions, so the step-by-step tutorials around everything what the SAP BTP has to offer, or even the different services. So all 91 services, right, which I showed you in the beginning, are here available. Let's now maybe go into SAP Build, which you can see here, SAP Build Apps, which I showed you before. You not only see an overview, what is it about, you also get an immediate pricing. This is maybe not the quite final pricing. Talk always to your people to maybe also understand what kind of final pricing they could give you. If you want to get started and want to do a step-by-step mission, all of it is available here. You also can see what's planned for the roadmap, and you can see other customers that have done things with it before, and all the resources. So I personally use this website almost every day when I talk to my customers and show them this is my entry point of where to go. So one of the most underrated websites, SAP Discovery Center. Another place is for you the Innovation Awards. So all of those customer stories that I talked to you about are the SAP Innovation Award stories. And they're super inspiring. I really like them. So they're like from, I think, 2021 to 2023. They're all on here, where you can read about different customers and what they have been doing, and maybe what's also available for you there. And the last one is the SME Innovation Program, because there is a particular document also out there telling you about all of those different innovation stories. Oh, that's quite a long, well, I think I need to refresh that one page. Telling you about a lot of different small, medium-sized companies and what are their innovation stories out there. Again, maybe as a spark of inspiration for you. Last but not least, we kind of compiled the whole concept around Clean Core on one microsite. Why to use Clean Core with this animation, the Clean Core approach of what are the different areas, and so on and so on. All of one website with all of the necessary links. So, and you see I showed you a lot of different presentations today, the Clean Core website. So, with that said, I hope I explained to you what is Clean Core, why is it important, what are these extensibility options. Remember, we had like SAP Build with the 3 different components, SAP Build Apps, SAP Build Workzone, and SAP Build Process Automation. And we also had Business Application Studio. And I showed you a lot of links, a lot of websites of where you can get inspired, and also where you can get started. With that said, thank you very much. If you have any questions around SAP BTP, Extensibility, Clean Core, or AI, happy for you to talk to me here at the reception. And I actually do also a lot around presentation skill training, LinkedIn masterclasses, and so on. If you're also interested in those things, come and talk to me. Connect with me on LinkedIn, because I share many more of those cool and not so many known tips on LinkedIn. So please feel free to out. And with that said, thank you very much for today.